We need mercy. And even though it's not a video game and I don't know if anyone's going to get the mercy reference to healing, let's get some healing here. So yeah. This. It's really good, and if I am correct and see what is happening, this is done. And like sometimes this is good. This is 2 season done. Because you don't need like endless story. There's like some stories where I'm like, I want to see the world, explore this, explore the world. And some are like, would I want more story with these characters? Yes. And I will never deny that. These characters are like really nice. But like, will what this is end? Because this is a good story. Where it started in season 1, which I'll go into more detail, and how it goes into how it ends with this current story, I absolutely love. And I absolutely think it's like really good. Like, could they do a season 3? Maybe, but the main problem's gone. So I don't think so. Maybe not. But I still think this is like really good and really sort of like interesting. Definitely with how it is overall like happening. So yeah. Time for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But one thing I like is during, and I am going to talk about season 1, even though it's not a bit, but that just builds up into my argument to why I like this. In season 1, the whole point was like the stereotypical, you go into another world. It's like you go into another world and everyone thinks you're terrible. You don't have a good magic system. And like she's seen as this person like, oh, we got the saint, but we accidentally got this other person who turns out she was the saint, and the other person was the other person who wasn't the saint, who got brought along anyway, but people thought was the saint. So I like the idea that at the beginning, through season 1, the whole arc is trying to build her up and prove that she's the actual one, the true one. And you slowly get that, and it's really interesting. But I love in this, you get the other angle, which is what would actually happen. A bunch of people being like, well, I see the problem is probably dealt with. So, for political gain, who should marry her? And it's effed up. But I know that was a thing. Like, marriage nowadays is seen as like you have to marry for love. And that is a thing. You have to marry for love and who you love. But marriage back then was, darling, do you see this husband here? He will make us rich. You don't like him? No, not our problem. I don't think so. He will make us rich. So that's a talking point. And it's all about like trying to make like, these two will make a good and help our business grow further and together. It was a contract of like, we two can help each other. So it was really messy. They do take a more optimistic approach to the two people who's like, there gotta be something, go together. But I just love that they have that sort of thing of like, well, I'm gonna put my son down for the person who I think should marry her. I'm like, great, that is not how marriages work. But that's more medieval sort of, this is sort of like based in like, sort of like medieval times. I'm not gonna say England specifically, because I'm talking about arranged marriages, which I don't know who came up with it first, or how many countries used to do that. I know it was a big thing in a lot of places, but I'm not going to say where, but I know England did a lot of that. Especially if you're poor, you don't need to care. But I'm pretty sure you had other priorities. But, that was I love that they, like, had a sort of story. That season 1 was like, trying to build and prove yourself. Now you're like, shoot, now people are thinking of me as just as that person who has that lot of magic, which is fucked up. You are more than just like that one thing about you. You have your personalities, your likes, dislikes, all of this makes you alongside your skills. But yeah. So yeah, this is really good. And because I'm assuming, Yes, the truman makes an ass out of you and me. This seems to be the end of this story, which I like. I like it here. I like the ending here, but it's really good. But yeah, I do think this is good and absolutely worth watching. So I hope you enjoyed, and good night.